everyone. Welcome to Chant A Psalm. We are up at the 8 a.m. hour. It's Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. We are here on Sunday, and today's psalm is beautiful. I just want to share these yellow flowers as I celebrate the new year. The Ethiopian New Year is September 11th. And September 11th, in Ethiopia, there's flowers like this growing all over. And they're beautiful. I just love flowers. I love to go into a botanical garden and walk around. Flowers are the footprints that angels leave behind. Okay? So give me my flowers now. I love this. So, we have ooh, my son said, "Are you not going to plant that outside?" I said, "Yes, I'm going to plant this outside because look how beautiful, gorgeous." So yellow flowers, and this one is a mum's, and it has the information on it. They come in different colors, and yellow is the color of the new year, September 11th. So these are my flowers that I bought for myself. So I love the fact that I can give myself flowers. I'm not waiting for someone to give me flowers. I'm going to say, "Here, oh, I love that. I even got these. And these are carnations." Yeah. But some of the yellow came out. See, so I love the fact that we can have these beautiful footprints that angels leave behind. Beautiful. So here they are. They're gorgeous. You gotta stop and you gotta smell the roses. You gotta stop and smell. Oh, they're just gorgeous. So I want just a bunch of these all around, and I want to shout out to my friend Jade in Barbados because she mentioned, that. She had given someone, this is what she does. She gives flowers, and she likes someone, you give them flowers and all that. And sometimes people don't appreciate it. They're not realizing what a special thing flowers are. And they come in all kinds of shapes, colors. They're like people. And they bring us, well, for me, they bring us a beautiful joy. And that's our word today. Joy. Ding, ding, ding. That's our word today, joy. So we're going to be joyful for the day. Yeah. And these are our beautiful flowers. We'll put them here. Yep, I have ton loads of work to do. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. I just wanted to start off with these beautiful flowers because flowers are the footprints that angels leave behind. So those of you who like flowers, really appreciate nature. When I got up this rise, there was fog. There's just a whole bunch of fog came in, and I told my son, "The angels have touched down. The angels have touched down. The angels have touched down." He's like, "What are you talking?" Open the door, and you see all this mist, and it's fog. It's this mist, and I feel that's when you see that, that's the angels of the Most High touching down to earth. That's their kind of transport. they're being transported through the portal of the mist. So yeah, I'm weird, and I'm different, and it takes a special person out there. It takes a special person to understand me and how different I am, and what I look at in life as the simple pleasures. And that's what the word is today. It's joy. The simple pleasures that make should make you joyful, right? And sometimes people want the extravagant this, and they want, all the material things that the world has to offer. That is money. You have to, and then they get into debt, and they get into bills on top of bills on top of bills, because they're trying to put their heart where they're not able to reach it. And when our heart is for material things, we're going to be disappointed. So I like to talk about, myself a lot. I like to talk about my past relationships, my recent breakup. And, I like to talk about that stuff. But I got some advice yesterday. And this person is in their 30s, 38 or something. And they're younger than me. But they, gave me some criticism. And I took it. And I said, you know what? That makes sense. I'm open to learning. I'm open to seeing. I'm open to listening. And I listened and I said, I am talking about my recent breakup too much. So I decided, instead of talking about the recent breakup, I'm going to talk about my former relationships as examples. And I'm not going to call names. My attorney said, you stay away from pointing people out, degrading their character. All this is defamation of character and stuff like that. So I'm not going to talk about a person. I'm going to talk about the entirety of relationships, period. And those of you, out there can, leave comments about your relationship. And the Breakfast Club had something. The Breakfast Club had something on, and they had a question: when did you know your relationship was over? Okay. And some people said, oh, when they were deleted from Facebook and they weren't, so they knew their relationship was over then. So people talk about relationships, and the hosts on the Breakfast Club talked about their own personal relationship, and that they just got out of a relationship, and stuff like that. So people talk about those things all the time. And it's good to talk about it and get it out. Go ahead and like this video. You're coming on here. Rustem, thank you. White clothes suit me, sir. I'm not a sir. I'm a queen. Very much respects to you too. So I am gonna use my life as an example when I talk about the Psalm. So, for example, the Psalm today is Psalm, what is it? It's Psalm 60, and it's talking about righteousness is going to be the one to tread down wrongness, my own wrongness. So we have to be the ones to look at ourselves first before we go pointing about that person is wrong or this person is wrong. So I look at the Psalm today relating to me, and feeling broken and needing to be restored because I've been broken. When something is fresh and just happened, you want to talk about it and you want to express your feelings about it, because time is going to erase it completely, where you don't talk about it anymore. It's not something that you have to speak about or reference. I am going to try to reference things in my life that are positive, okay? That are positive. So I brought some things with me today to share in this Chant A Psalm. And one of them is my memoir. So I wrote this. This is 2021 copyrighted. And it's a memoir. That's me as a little girl on the island of St. John, growing up surrounded by an environment of nature, surrounded by the outside. This picture of me, my uncle who passed away, one of my ancestors, my uncle Oswin, he took this picture. Yes, he took this picture, and it's a picture with my sister and I, but I cropped her out for the cover of this book. I love you. She's my older sister by 10 months. Anyway, my uncle Oswin took this picture, and as you can tell, I have a hat on, and there's footprints. See the footprints? I took that picture of the footprints in the sand. And this book, and then you see my dad back here. So my dad, here we go. Yeah. My dad has always been my hero. He's my hero even today. Even though he is an ancestor, he's in the ancestral life. He's my hero still. And I love the fact that he can still be part of my life, and I could still feel like that is that I've gained and not lost, right? I've gained and not lost. So this book, this memoir, it's on Amazon. You can get it on there, but it's part 1, and it's 4 chapters. The chapter 1 is about the parents, and chapter 2 and 3 are about titles that I was given, and chapter 4 is about my grandmother's guest house. So this is just part 1. This is just part 1. I have a preface here, and it's, you know, this memoir is to my parents. To my parents, Callis and Gloria Sewer, of Inny Head, Cruise Bay, St. John, U.S. Virgin Islands. Thank you, Mommy and Daddy. I love you both. To my beautiful and smart sisters, Charla and Calista, for teaching me how to survive. To my sister from another mother, Jennifer, I thank you for being strong to want to find your biological parents. To my brother from another mother, Callie, I thank you for being the brother I always wished I had, for wishes do come true because I have you as my brother. To all my brothers and sisters I have yet to meet, I thank you in advance. Remember, our Father is Jah, God, and our Mother is Jah, God, maker of heavens and earth. To all my children, the 3 I birthed, Callis Russell, Kala Raji, and Kush Radha, all named by me, and to their sperm donor for teaching me about the world. To the children I borrow to teach, and to the children I have yet to meet, thank you all for staying kind, respectful, and sweet. I love you all very much. To all my teachers for taking time to make learning fun and always allowing me to make mistakes without judgment, making me learn even more. To my Uncle Larry Sewer for inspiring the title of my first part of my memoir with his poem, and for his permission to use it here. So I have his poem. It's called V.I. Child by Sir Larry Sewer. I am a Virgin Island child. I am a jewel. However, I cannot sparkle unless I am polished. God, the maker of all solvents, created the greatest solvents of all, care. Care can move mountains. Care motivates my willingness to learn. Care expresses love. This is copywritten 1981. This poem is. So I included it in the first page of my book and my preface, and then I have on behalf of. So I have on behalf of. You got to get this book. It talks about my parents. There's my mom and dad. Okay, so chapter 1 is the parents. Chapter 2 is when I won the Talented Teen competition and went to represent the Virgin Islands. Chapter 3, let's see, chapter 3, chapter 2 is long. Chapter 3 is when I won Miss St. John. I became Love City Queen. Yeah, I had some queen titles in my life. And then chapter 4 is my grandmother's guest house. That's when it was being built. And that's all the chapters. That's some pictures in the book of me as a child. And the women that raised me, or the women that I came from. My mother, so I have my mother, my mother's mother, my dad's mother, my dad's mother's mother, and yep, I have some some Irish Caucasian in there, dispersed about, like we all do. And then I have about the author, a little bit about me there. Yeah. And in the back, I have a picture of me, a recent picture. That's me there. So, yeah, I was, in 2021, I was engaged. So I have on the back, Dr. Sewer has 3 children, is currently engaged. However, I'm no longer engaged. I am single and disengaged. So, you can get this on Amazon if you want me to send you the link. Or I have some copies here. These 2 copies are for a friend of mine. I'm sending her, and I have to mail this out. But that is the copies. I have some here. So I wanted to, start off the psalm with something positive. Thank you, Jade. Shout out to my Bayesian friend in the Bahamas who sent me today's reading. And I don't see a scripture supporting it, but it's just October 6th. October 6th. And it's quite powerful. I may not know what the next step is, right? But God does. Who is God? God is righteousness, compassion, mercy, love, kindness, long suffering. You're going to have to do some of that. Forgiveness. You're going to have to forgive folks, because folks out there don't know of the God that you know, and the Jesus that you love. People don't know of that, and they do things haphazardly. They do things and then they say, I'm sorry, instead of being careful with what they're doing. So we may not know the next step, but that compassion and long suffering that is the Most High knows, right? I may not understand why I'm going through a particular challenge. Okay, you may not understand why you're going through something that may be challenging, like what I'm going through. And I'm not going to reference the specifics and what somebody specifically did, but I'm going to reference my choices in the past, and my choice now in the present and for my future is going to be different because I want different results. Okay, I don't want to be struggling in my life. I don't want to have to live from paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to have to be, having cars repossessed and eviction notices on my door. I don't want to live in that uncertainty. So I have in the past tried to help those from that uncertainty to live and have a different life of generational wealth, and putting aside the $50,000 cars and clothes and all that, and trying to live simple, so that you can have a future that is filled with abundance. But you have to live that simplicity now. So those are challenges that we face when we are not, how can I put this? When we are not serving truth, when we're not serving righteousness, when we're not serving goodness, we are serving our selfish wants. Psalm 23, I shall not want, because who is the shepherd? That is your shepherd. You should not want. You're going to be given an abundance. So why not be patient and practical, right? So the wise mind of God knows all and sees the bigger picture when I'm only able to grasp a small piece of the puzzle. I put my trust, and grasping a small piece of the puzzle is finding out why somebody either cheated or why somebody did you wrong. And that small piece of the puzzle, you may not know, or you may have that information, but then the bigger picture, God knows why somebody would do that. God knows the person's heart. So I put my trust and faith in God's greater vision for my life, right? And allow that greater vision to unfold according to the will of righteousness, according to the will of mercy, according to the will of long suffering, forgiveness, compassion, just all the solvents of God, all the attributes that are of God and that are of Jesus. We're in the book of Matthew, and when I was looking at the book of Matthew, chapter 20, is talking about, Jesus is talking about what he was. And when I look at how folks are acting and dealing, they're so far from that. And I said, oh my goodness, people really need Jesus. But then it speaks of, it's, Jesus talks about, it's, you have to, to be next to the Father. That is not for Jesus to speak of. Jesus said to them, this is Matthew 20. We're going in the gospel right away, y'all. Jesus said to them, you will indeed drink from my cup. Yep, right? But to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. The sitting at the right or the left, these places belong to those for whom these places have been prepared by the Father. Who's the Father? The Father is that omnipotent goodness. The Father is truth. The Father is right. The Father is justice. The Father is equity. The Father is balance. And that Father is a companion with a mother. So some of the Catholics, they talk about the Blessed Mother. Yes, that is part and parcel of that one omnipotent Trinity, right? So thank you, Jade, for sending this. This is just beautiful, and I receive it with a fullness of heart and a thankfulness that I could actually receive this all the way from a place in the Caribbean that I grew up. I didn't grow up in Barbados, but I grew up on an island similar to Jade, how Jade grew up on an island. And I didn't know Barbados is so flat. There's no hills and mountains and stuff. It's just flat. I didn't know that. So that's why I'm learning, and I love the fact that I'm learning and open to learn. And as Black Americans have this disconnection from Caribbean Blacks or African Blacks, and there's this division, we can't be divided among ourselves. We need to come united. We have to come united, because that's the divide and conquer. Oh, you're from the South of the U.S., you're a Black American, this is a Black Caribbean, and this is a Black African. We're all Black. We all come from the same source and an original creation. However, we've been scattered all over. And because we've been scattered all over, we've been indoctrinated by different, socialization tools. I teach this in one of my classes. The media and the internet are two big how children are socialized. They're socialized with the media and with the internet. And parents are using that as a babysitting, okay, go online, leave me alone, or go watch something on TV. And that becomes the babysitter. That becomes who the child is being raised by. The child is being not raised by you. The child is being raised by the TV. The child is being raised by the media. The child is being raised by, all this outside interference. So when the parent now is giving the child attention and the child acts out, they want to know why the child is rude, because you neglected the child and left the child to be raised by Fortnite. Fortnite is a violent video game. And when adults play violent video games, they're setting bad examples. That's my opinion of it. It's my professional opinion. And in my professional opinion, sometimes people don't take heed to my professional opinion. Because number one, I'm Black. Number one, I'm a woman. Number one, I'm from the Caribbean. What would that person know? So you're discriminated against by your own people. And your experience and your education is weaponized against you in this way, instead of being an asset. And that's where the divide and conquer comes in. So I'm glad that I could reach across to the ocean from the eastern shore of Maryland all the way to the Barbados, all the way to Alabama, all the way to Texas, all the way to Missouri, St. Louis, all the way to the Virgin Islands, okay? Reaching folks with this platform all the way in Baltimore, all the way in Washington, D.C., every place, this platform is going out to. So I wanted to share these words, because these words are like food for your life. It's food for your life. However, we have to eat, right? I'm getting ready to make some beans. I hope my son cut the vegetables up, because I'm going to stew some red beans today. But I wanted to show you all my veggie food group. This is what I eat. Someone asked, what do you eat? What do you eat? This is what I eat. I love brown rice pasta, so I'm going to try to get a pasta maker to make my own pasta. Greens and grains. Greens, kale, spinach, and broccoli are three of my favorite greens. So if you have that, you got me if you get me some greens. And fruits. I love banana and soursop. My two favorite, but banana, I'm crossing it out because they destroyed the banana industry in Dominica in the Caribbean, okay? They destroyed it. The capitalism destroyed it. So I used to be a huckster, and I was in a relationship with someone in my past, and I'm using this as an example. And we went to Dominica to get produce, we got plantains, we got, lettuce, we got all kinds of different provisions and produce to sell in the Virgin Islands. We wanted to have a Caribbean market, where you can come and get food from in one place from St. Kitts. You can get peanuts from certain places. You can get coffee from Ethiopia. You can get, it's a place where you can get Caribbean food, because there's so many Caribbean people from different parts of the Caribbean that are in the Virgin Islands, and they might want some of their food. So we wanted to have a place like that. Two women starting up. We got shut down quick. Okay? The capitalists, they didn't want that. They were like, what? So they our trailer, we had food coming from Jamaica. And we had a 20-foot trailer of food from Jamaica. And the food was frozen. Somebody turned the trailer on too high. It's on the dock sitting frozen. All our food went bad. So when you're up against these big capitalists, and you're a woman, black women now coming together to do this, you can't mix business with pleasure. And that's what happened. We were involved with each other. So you gotta put that aside. And that's why I'm doing things differently in my life, because of the past mistakes or the past lapse in judgment. I want different results. So because I want different results, I have to do things differently. And doing things differently is doing it for me now. It's my turn. It's my turn. I'm doing it for me. I'm getting the house for me. I'm getting the car for me. I'm getting, my 2 horses that I want for me. I'm getting, that I'm getting for me. In my past relationships, people wanted what they wanted for them. They wanted a dog. They wanted a $40,000 car. They wanted this. They wanted that. They got what they wanted. And I gave and gave and gave and gave. Now it's time for me to give myself. So in the Psalm today, that's what I'm going to talk about. Giving myself what I didn't give, what I gave other people. Okay? So that's why I'm sticking with my veggie food group. So in my veggie food, I got nuts, walnuts, pecans, and almonds. Okay, those are my favorite to snack on. I even got, I got this. I got my Planters peanuts. Okay. So that's my nut area. And then beans, we got legumes, black beans, red beans, pinto. We got roots, ginger, tanya. These are roots, the food that grow in the earth, that you can pull them up and cut them and boil them like a potato. And dashin, if anybody heard of dashin, tanya, yams, sweet potato, those root of foods. So that's my veggie food group. So that's what I try to eat. Okay, I cheat. Let me tell you, I'm not perfect. I may cheat. I had a turkey burger the other day. Okay, I cheated off of the food group here. When I was living by myself, I didn't have to worry about that. But my son, he eats that. So I was like, make me one too. But I gotta not be tempted to do that. So when I look at the Psalm today, it's talking about treading down our enemies. We are our own worst enemy. Okay? So this is for me. I have to tread down this enemy of wanting to eat foods that's not good for me. But I grew up eating. I'm not going to go so far as to eat some pork and some Piggly Wiggly. No. The turkey burger and was enough. And Yeah. So anyway, when I look at the psalm today, I look at the psalm as speaking directly to me, because I'm like, oh, why wasn't I strong enough to withhold from that turkey burger? Oh God, you have rejected me. You've broken my defenses. You've been angry. Restore me to eating the right foods and not wanting that. So that's how the psalm starts off today. And I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable to what is righteous, what is good, compassionate, kind, loving, and forgiving, right? This is what I want to accept, the words that I speak. So, verse 1 is, oh righteousness, you have rejected. You have rejected I and I, broken I and I defenses, been angry, oh restore I and I, right? Verse 2 now, righteousness have made the land to quake and have opened the land up. Repair the breaches of the land, for the land is tottering. And verse 3, righteousness has made righteous people see hard things. And that's me. I've seen hard things. Seeing my dad on the ground, passed away lifeless, that was the hardest thing to see. Especially a daughter, a girl and her dad. Man, come on. That is the hardest thing to see. And I couldn't even call the individual that I was with, because they blocked me, because they're with okay. I said I wasn't gonna I said I wasn't gonna go there. And the reason I go there is because seeing hard things in verse 3, I saw that was hard to see. And verse 3 doesn't end there. It says that I and I have been given this stuff to make me stagger. Stagger is like you're off balance. Okay? I was totally off balance. Seeing that I was off balance. I ran out the house, down the road to get the ambulance. Like, come on, we got to revive him, resuscitate him. And all I'm hearing is he's already gone. He's free. He's in the bosom of Abraham. And he's free. He's already gone. He's safe. That's what I heard. He's safe. He's free. He's in the bosom of Abraham. He's safe. And I just, that was a comfort for me to hear that. But I was like, what? No. So, seeing these hard things, we may stagger. However, verse 4, there's banners that have been set up. The banner, the green, yellow, and red banner. Okay, I'm looking at it right now with the Lion of Judah in it. So those things have been set up for those that fear righteousness, that ones may flee to righteousness from the bow. Selah. That all of I and I who are beloved ones, we are beloved ones, that we may be delivered and given salvation, given a future of abundance, a future that is bright, a future that is nice, a future that is free from despair and free from depression, a future that is delivered at the righteousness of the Most High, that is going to answer. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you. Because it's not me you're liking. I'm just a vessel. I'm just a tiny drop in the bucket. I am nothing without the knowledge of goodness in my life, and mercy and compassion and long suffering and honesty and humility and growing mature in Christ, so that you're not harboring jealousy. You're not harboring envy. You're not insecure in your life with people. This is where we want to be. Because in verse 6, God has spoken in islandness. You can call it holiness. God has spoken in his holiness. Righteousness has spoken in righteousness's sacredness. It's so sacred. It's like, ooh, like an egg is fragile. Okay? That sacredness is, we need to nourish it. I told someone, I'm going to nourish the friendship. I'm nourishing that friendship because it's important, it's sacred, it's a trusting. I want to be able to trust again, to love again, to feel again. Because when you've been, and I'm going to say this for the last time, Jade, stabbed in the back with the knife twisted so hard into you that it feels like it's coming out of your stomach. That feeling, I will be delivered from, have been delivered from. You are a beloved ones. Amen, David Beckwith. Blessed morning to you, El Sue, David Beckwith, all of you joining this Chant A Psalm today. Verse 6, with exultation I will divide up Shechem and portion out the valley of Succoth. This is quotes of what righteousness is speaking of. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, Ephraim is my helmet, Judah is my scepter. I just spoke of Judah, the banner of green, yellow, and red, where the Lion of Judah has the scepter and is holding it. The same scepter that Moses and Abraham, this is where it's coming from, the ancient. That's why I heard the voice tell me he's in the bosom of Abraham, because that is where the father of our forefathers and foremothers began this righteous journey to seek for the face of righteousness, to do good, to live nice, to have an abundance, and to keep that faith with works in trusting that the power of righteousness is going to have a good outcome. You're going to be good. We may not be good together, but you're going to be good. So Moab is the wash basin. Okay, cleanliness is next to righteousness. I tell my son when he uses the basin, you need to wash it out so that the next person coming can have a clean, basin to wash themselves. When you're in the shower and you're showering and getting all your grime off, don't just leave it and not clean it. Someone else has to come there and use it. So all of this is part of that relationship you're building. You're not cleaning the tub because somebody else, you're cleaning it because you're building that relationship with righteousness. And part of that is cleanliness. So you're going to take some time, you're going to scrub, you're going to wipe, you're going to spray, you're going to make it nice. And that's your relationship. You have just built a building block. Remember I talk about that. These are building blocks toward that relationship. And if you're not able to have that relationship, how are you going to have it with people? You're going to be nasty. You're not going to be clean. You're not going to be, because you haven't built that relationship first with that is first. Some people could say Selassie the first. God is first. So when we talk about God is first, Why aren't we putting that into action? Right? So upon Edom, I cast my shoe. We talk about Edom as a sacred ground. You take your shoe off when you come into my home because it's sacred. So I have this rule: when you come into my home, you got to put your shoes in the shoe rack and come into my home, because I'm creating a Edom. I'm creating a modality that is sacred. I'm creating a house of righteousness, basically. You know, I'm building, like Solomon built the temple for God. I'm building, my temple is me. I'm building that within me, right? Eating the right food, staying on my veggie food group, stuff like that. I'm building that temple, pouring into my body, into my being, actually, because a body can also be something that's lifeless. I have a goodie. I have a being that's alive. I'm alive. Some people are living, but they're kind of dead. They're go into a dead, depressive state, and they're just going through the motions. And you can feel that. Sometimes you can tell your relationship is over when people just going through the motions. There's no love making. And even if there is, it's just kind of like, wait a minute. This isn't, there's no spark. It's just gone. So we look at how over Philistia, I shout in triumph. So all of this that righteousness has spoken, there's a question now in verse 10, in 9, 10, 11, and 12. There's a question in 9 and 10. Who is going to bring me to this place? Who is going to bring me to the fortified city? Who will lead me to Edom, to the sacred ground? Who's going to lead me there? Each of you have to build that in your home. Build an Edom in your home, a sacred place where everything is clean, put away. You have things in order. Look at your place. Look at your surroundings. Because the question is, who is going to bring you to the fortified city? Who is going to lead you to Edom? Because there's a question again now, have God not rejected us? God doesn't go out with us anymore with our armies. Who is going to give us strength against these enemies? Because the salvation of man is vain. And I talked about it. People want big cars, how they want all this materialistic mentality. That's vanity. And vanity leads to misery. You want this big, nice car, and you're pumping going, and you want everybody to see you looking nice. And that is vanity. And vanity leads to misery. And misery leads to destruction of your mind, really. You don't have a peace of mind. You're constantly looking out your window to see if they're going to come take your possessions, because you have put your heart where you can't reach it. So with God, we're going to do valiantly. And it is God who's going to tread down our enemies. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you. Subscribe and, share this with someone. We're at the 50 minutes, and I love that Psalm 60 is giving us a roadmap. It's a roadmap. If you really look at it, it's a roadmap to your future that's supposed to be bright and filled with goodness. But sometimes we get off balance, right? We stagger, according to verse 3. We get off balance. But guess what? There's a banner that's been set up for those who fear. You are beloved ones. You're going to be delivered. You're going to have salvation through the righteousness that's going to answer. And that answer is coming from that sacred place. That sacred place. And is described as, Manasseh, Ephraim, Judah, Moab, Edom. It's, over Philistia, you're going to shout in triumph. Remember Samson, who tear down the Philistines? So these this has been from such time ago. We have an advocate, and sometimes we don't realize it because we get caught up in our own understanding and what we want, and how we want it, instead of what righteousness wants for us. I met someone and they're the kindest person. They're exactly what I want, but I'm afraid. I'm like, you know, my son said it. You want somebody to use you your whole life, or you want somebody that's going to lift you up and sacrifice and give you, instead of you being always on the giving end. So I have to take my time and move in the divine guidance of righteousness. It's not my own understanding as to get under someone after I've just finished with someone else to forget about that someone else. No, it's about finding my own happiness and my own will for myself, loving myself, valuing myself, giving myself flowers, as you see right here, my yellow flowers, and treating myself. I went and treated myself on a trip while I was getting my belongings from Texas. I said, let it not just be about that. Let it be about giving myself something too, right? And I did, and it was beautiful. I spent time by myself. I spent time with good folks that cared about me, and that this is what the deacon gave me for my birthday. He gave me a $2 bill. He said, this is a $2, and he gave me this $2 bill. And I was just like, wow, that is the sweetest, kindest, gesture. So Psalm 60 is beautiful. And when I look at the verse today, is coming from Isaiah. And Isaiah is my guy. Isaiah 26 verse 4. Trust in the Lord forever. For the Lord himself is the rock eternal. So let's unpack that for those of you who don't know what the Lord is and don't know what the Lord is called him, his imperial majesty, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and the overcomer of the tribe of Judah. That Lord is female as well as male. We have the omnipotent Almighty Father and the Blessed Mother. We have Father Time. We have Mother Nature, right? There's coming together. That's what creation is. It's that that's how things are created, with male and female. However, you can have two females that can create as well. Two males that can create as well. The male seahorse carries the baby. So in nature and in creation, we see that there's gender can do anything. Genders can create. I have a friend who talks about the creation story as two females, and that one of the females morphed into being able to be, able to impregnate or come together in that flesh as two women. So I was like, that's an interesting story too, right? That we can look at in terms of scientifically how a baby growing inside of a mom is female first, and then it morphs into, whether it's going to stay that way, female, or is going to have a representation of a male genitalia. So it's interesting how that is looked at. However, with all of this, the enemy is you. You are your own worst enemy. And we ask that strength is granted against that. So you push aside all that negative narratives in your mind that you're not worthy. Oh, I thought nobody's going to want me, and this, and you're not good enough, or I'm out of your league, or this person is out of your league, or you're just, you want to dumb yourself down. No, that's your enemy. And then what happens is the enemy on the outside hears you, feels you speaking these negative narratives, and comes now to lure you away into destruction. And you are known by the company you keep. You are known by the company you keep. Misery loves company. People who are miserable loves a lot of people around them that are too miserable. So Psalm 60 really spoke to me today, and I hope that it did to you too, because righteousness is going to tread down our enemies, and our enemies is ourselves. We are our own worst enemy. So the verse today came from Isaiah 26 verse 4, and it's about trusting in that righteousness so that your enemies, the negative narratives, can be washed away. You remember the wash basin. Ephraim, Moab is the wash basin. And the verse today, Isaiah, trust in that forever, for all time. I've had to learn that the hard way. Trusting in people is, I don't know. So I trust in righteousness for all time. And that righteousness itself is a rock, an eternal rock. Remember, the stone that the builder refused, that stone is a rock that became what? The head of the cornerstone. So when people reject you, when people leave you, when people stab you in the, I'm not going to say it again. When they do these things, guess what? You have an advocate, because they did it to that one too. Selassie first was rejected by his own people in Ethiopia. Okay, Jesus was rejected by his own folks. They crucified. They were loving, and then they said, kill him, kill him, kill him. So those representations of that rock is eternal. When I'm gone, that rock of eternity is still going to be. I'm just a vessel, I tell y'all. I'm not here forever. But who is forever is righteousness is forever. Trust in righteousness, that is forever. Trust in compassion, trust in mercy, trust in long suffering, okay? Jacob suffered how many years without the love of his life, Rachel? Okay? So we got to trust in all of that, in forgiveness. We have to trust and forgive. I forgive folks who did what they did to me when I was from a baby all the way up. I've never been sexually molested. I've never been physically abused. I've never had childhood adversities happen to me. I may have seen my mom drink a little bit too alcohol, but that was probably it. But she was never violent, and my dad wasn't violent to her. So in all this, I need people out there to heal their childhood trauma before you get into a relationship, because you're taking this trauma into your life with someone else, and it's not going to last because you haven't dealt with the trauma that you faced, and you end up taking it out on people. That's not fair. It's not just, it's not balanced. So we're at the hour here. Oh my goodness. Thank you all for sticking around. But I wanted to tell you what the word of the day is. The word of the day today is joy. Joy. I rejoice in life's simple pleasures. Joy. Life's biggest moments: weddings, births, graduations, celebrations of all kinds, are cause for joy, right? But joy is also found in life's simpler moments, the day to day happenings that comprise daily living. Joy is in the sunrise, in my morning prayer, in the familiar faces I love and look forward to seeing, in the satisfaction I get from my work. I got a proposal to write that I'm not finished with. Joy is in my favorite things and in the sweet surprises that come from trying something new and different so I can get different results. Joy is the comfort, right? How I find in my favorite righteous practices, like chanting the psalm, and you all joining me in that, and in finding God anew as I deepen in righteousness's insight. Righteous insight, right? Looking within. However, joy manifests. Joy is part of me, a way to feel the love and tranquility and power of God in my heart and deep in my life. Selah and Selah again. This word today was brought to you by 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 22. And they ate and drank before the Lord on that day with great joy. Selah and Selah again. Thank you so much for joining Chant A Psalm A Day, everyone. It was a pleasure to share the joy of the word today. I love it. The joy of the word today. Joy is our word today. How can you find joy in your life today? Do you have faith? Because Max Lucado is looking at Hebrews 11:1. We have a lot of ones. 11:1. Faith means being sure of the things we hope for. Faith is not insecure. Faith is not jealous. Faith is not envious. Faith is secure, right? It means being sure and secure of the things that you want, that you look for, that you seek after, and knowing that something is real, even when we do not see it. Remember that. And Max Lucado asked the question, do you have faith? When you have faith, then you have what it takes to tackle your problems before they tackle you. When you have that confident hope, then you will know how to handle whatever life brings you. So how do we translate confident? Self-assured. You're sure of yourself. You're sure that your future is going to be bright and you're going to be okay. And that you know how to handle whatever life brings you. Life may bring you, some challenges financially. You have stuck your neck out for people financially and now you're left holding the bag. Maybe that may be happening and that may be a challenge. But guess what? You're going to handle that because you are sure that your future is going to be bright. I told my son, you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, I wonder what car should I take today? Should I take the Tesla? Should I take the Lambo? Should I take what car? So that faith without works is not going to happen. So that's why you got to work. You got to have that work or that faith is not going to manifest. And you have to know how to handle whatever life brings you when you have that faith. Okay? The sunshine is coming in, y'all. You can see it. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I need to go outside. I love outside, but I wanted to share the Matthew, the more your heart is washed, the more you'll dislike new stains. So the more your heart is washed with righteousness and mercy, you're gonna be able to discern any stain that's coming around. You are. Because you're washed. Your heart is washed. Thank you, Elsu, for the beautiful flower emoji. We all gonna have to get together and do a botanical garden walk, okay? And anybody who is in Maryland on the Eastern Shore, that's where we're gonna do that. We're gonna, get together. We're gonna come together. We have to. Thank you so much for joining. We look at the October 6th. We have privilege before the King. Talking about pride, presentation of the King, humility, and tricky questions from opponents, interrogation, and harsh words for hypocrites. Harsh words for hypocrites, condemnation. So we see God's word has a way of being irritatingly convicting. You wish you could ignore its truth, but there it is, persistent, penetrating, uncompromising. And until you respond in obedience, you will feel uncomfortable and without peace. As the Pharisees, whom Christ called blind guides, hypocrites, and whitewashed tombs, you will either find a way to turn a deaf ear to the word of God or submit your life to its truth. Is there a burr under your spiritual saddle today? Don't ignore it. God has placed it there for a purpose, to make it too painful not to change. And what is a burr? Burr is like a little thing that pricks, right? And this is representing of a saddle on my horse. I like the Western saddles with the horn, or I can do English saddles. And I use the English saddles for maybe jumping. However, the saddle, the spiritual saddle, is being represented here in this October 6th walking a daily walk Bible. And we don't want to turn a deaf ear to the word or submit our life to wrongness or to falsehood. We want to submit our life to truth. The truth of the word, right? And we can't ignore it, because righteousness has placed that truth there for a purpose, to make it too painful not to change, right? So I love that Jesus repeatedly warns his disciples of the fast approaching despair days of his suffering and death. Arriving in Jerusalem to a hero's welcome, he is hailed as king while making his entrance into the city. But even in the midst of this joyful reception, he mourns over the fickleness and fate of the people. So we see that there's a joyful reception. And the word today, joy, talks about that, right? It talks about life's biggest moments, like weddings and births and graduations. These are celebrations of all kinds, right? And they can cause for joy. But joy is also found in life's simpler moments. So we see that in this reception that Jesus got, this joyful reception. But he's still sad because he sees that even in the joy there is this fickleness and the fate of the people. People are not telling the truth. They're lying. They're not fulfilling, their word. And it's about, the last will be first and the first will be last. And there's a mother's request. A mother's request of her sons. 2 blind men are receiving sight. Jesus comes to Jerusalem. Jesus is at the temple. He curses a fig tree. The authority of Jesus is questioned. And he replies, I will also ask you one question. When you answer me, I will tell you by what authority I am doing these things. John's baptism, where did it come from? Was it from heaven or of human origin? So the disciple says they don't know. Neither, then Jesus says, neither will I tell you by what authority I'm doing these things. I'm not going to tell you. Jesus wasn't playing. Then there's a parable of the two sons, a parable of the tenants, the parable of the wedding banquet, the paying the imperial tax to Caesar, give back to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. When they heard this, they were amazed, so they left him and went away. There's a marriage at the resurrection. Jesus replied, you are in error because you do not know the scriptures or the power of God. At the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven. But without the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what God said to you? I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. When the crowds heard this, they were astonished by his teaching. So, at the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. I need to examine that more. So we have the greatest commandment. Who is the Son Messiah? A warning against hypocrisy is being spoken here. People are doing things to be seen. We talk about the greatest commandment, which is, and this was asked, what is the greatest commandment? Love the Lord your God with all your heart. So you love righteousness, mercy, compassion, long suffering, forgiveness, kindness, all of these attributes that are of God. You have to love all of them, not just love one piece, but the whole pie, with all your life and with all your mind. So you have to have narratives in your mind of goodness, compassion, love, and kindness. And this is the first and greatest commandment, that you love, righteousness. The second is like it, to love other people as you love yourself. This is exactly what I talked about. How can you be in a relationship loving someone when you don't love God first? So it's gonna get messy because you're not loving righteousness, long suffering, you're not loving these attributes of God first with all your heart. Your heart is loving somebody else more than God. You're going to get in a situation that's not going to be nice. So, because this is the first and greatest commandment. Once you do that, then you can love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on to these two commandments. Every law and the prophets, they hang on to these two commandments. Okay? So we see the son, whose son is the Messiah? So the Pharisees were gathered together. Jesus asked them, what do you think about the Messiah? Whose son is he? The son of David, they replied. He said to them, how is it then that David, speaking by the Spirit, calls him Lord? For he says, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet. When then David calls him Lord, how can he be his son? No one could say a word in reply. And from that day, no one dared to ask him any more questions. So we see, the book of Matthew for October 6th is really reflective of our own lives and how we have to, for ourselves, we have to love each other as we love ourselves. We have to. Oh, the sun is come shining in. Ooh, wow. So that is our wrap up for the day. If you have questions, if you need to talk to me, you can reach out. Very busy, but I will try to get back to you. And I love Max Lucado. It's about faith, and what that means. And for those of you who are just waking up or you're about to go to rest, have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you for joining Chant A Psalm A Day. I love the fact that we can gather together in this forum and we can give thanks. I love it. Thank you so much for joining Chant A Psalm A Day. My tea is cold. Thanks so much for joining Chant A Psalm A Day, everyone. Have a blessed day. Mwah. I love you all. But guess what? Righteousness of the Most High loves you more than anyone else can. Stay in that place. Stand in love, everyone. Stand in love.